Biology 102, Evolution and Origin of Species. Today we're going to be getting into natural selection. That's the next part that comes after evolution. This is the fucking doozy. Natural selection is going to have a lot I'm going to need to explain. So, firstly, what is natural selection? Natural selection is when individuals' traits will help them survive and reproduce and have more offspring. So, those helpful traits become more common in the population over time. So basically, if the trait helps you make more babies, then there's going to be more babies with that trait because they're your babies. So essentially, if you have, you know, this is a funny example, but essentially, if you have a big ass cock, right, and girls girls they they like big ass cock. So, um, if a if girls go to guys with big ass cocks and girls do not go to guys with small cocks, then the big cocks will survive and there will be more big cocks. Well, that's not a big one. So it's not going to be that one. It's going to be more big cocks. So the next part of natural selection is that the traits have to be heritable. What that means is they have to be in the genes. We learned what genes were earlier, but the traits have to be in the gene. So if the gene, let's say this is the gene right here. The gene is this little band on a chromosome. This is a retarded looking chromosome, probably for someone with Down syndrome. I know that's not how Down syndrome works. We're actually going to get into that later. But this is a band on a chromosome, and this is the gene right here. This blue band, it's now red band, on the blue chromosome is a gene. If it's not possible for the trait of big cock to be here, if that's not there, the baby can't have a big cock. So, well, pause. When the baby is grown, the baby can't have a big cock. So essentially, it has to be heritable. So an example of something not heritable would be like having big ass muscles. So this is Bob. This is Bob, and he has a big ass arm because he works his arm out, or he jerks off a lot. Yeah, Bob jerks off a lot. Well, Bob's baby is gonna have a normal sized arm. His arm's gonna be the same as his other arm because Bob got his big ass arm from jerking off, and you can't inherit his big ass worked out muscle jerked off arm. It has to be something in the gene. So another thing about natural selection is there has to be more offspring than resources. So let's say we've got like a tree here. Actually, that's a blue tree. We're gonna have another tree. These are trees, and you've got two trees, but you've got 1, 2, 3 Bobs. And this Bob is tall. This Bob is also tall. And this Bob is short. Since there's only two trees, these 3 Bobs are going to compete for these 2 trees. So natural selection requires competition. Not everyone is going to survive. These 2 Bobs are going to survive because they can get the fucking leaves in this tree. But this Bob, he's short, so he can't get it. That's competition. Not everyone is going to survive. That's how natural selection actually works. Not everyone is going to survive. So you may be asking me, well, you gave the example of the big cocks, and that the females want the dudes with big cocks, and so there are going to be more big cocks that are in the population afterwards. And you also said, oh, well, if they're tall, then they're able to get to the tree. So is it big cocks, or is it being tall? Is it what gets them to be able to mate more, or is it what gets them to be able to survive more? The thing is natural selection is both. Natural selection is lifetime reproductive success. So things evolve by natural selection if it leads to more surviving offspring. So both big cocks can lead to a bigger population. And also, tall bobs can also lead to a bigger population. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be anything that basically increases more surviving offspring. So, in turn, if you have more bigger cocks, then that's just more people because they get born with, there's more mating with bigger cocks, so that's more offspring. And if they're able to get food because they're tall, that's more surviving offspring. They go hand in hand. Now you're going to ask me, well, what is this called? You're not actually asking me this, but I'm telling you what it is. So this is called fitness. Fitness is reproductive success. It's not who's got the bigger muscles, even though I said that earlier. It's not who's got the bigger muscles. Fitness is who is going to survive, who is going to live, not who's going to, I don't know why I drew an arrow, but fitness means who's going to survive. It doesn't mean like who's the strongest. It means where are there going to be more children. So there's this thing called variation. Variation, if I can spell it good enough. It's probably too big of a word for you fuckers, but variation is difference in a population. It exists in population. And the variation is, let's say it's the tall bobs or the short bobs. So this is variation right here. Some variants will survive better, like tall bob. The survivors will reproduce more and make another tall bob. All right, so now that we've established that variation exists, I'm going to explain basically the environment creates a challenge. If there's a drought, there's fewer soft seeds or there's more hard seeds. So let's do hard seeds as colored in, and let's do soft seeds as not colored in. So this is the normal amount. There's going to be like colored in, and then boom, there's like 2 and 2 of each, right? There's 2 hard seeds and 2 soft seeds. Well, let's say there's a drought. This is with water, but then let's say there's a drought. Well, if there's a drought, then there's going to be more hard seeds. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's going to be less soft seeds, 1. There's only going to be 1. The variations of bird is a part of natural selection. So you have a bird, right? Here's the bird. This bird has a beak that's thin. So you have a bird. This bird has a beak that's thin. This is a thin beak. It can only get the soft seeds. It can only really mush those in its beak. But then you've got this other bird, and it's got a big old fat Jew beak. And, ooh, I am not anti-Semitic. That was a joke. Moving forward, it's got a big ass Jew beak, and it's going to go ahead and this one is going to survive because it's going to be able to eat these hard ass seeds, and this guy's only going to be able to eat a few. And over time, there's just going to be less and less and less and less of these guys, the soft beaks, the small beaks, and then there's going to be more of the hard beaks because of the environment. So what we're learning here is that the environment, it creates the challenge. Closing out natural selection, there's 3 things: heritability, variation, and competition. These are the 3 things that are needed for natural selection. First, heritability. That is when something can get passed from parent to offspring. Those things that need to be passed are the alleles, the genes. The alleles are located on the genes. Remember, this is the chromosome. This is the gene, right? And this gene has an allele on it, which says, oh yeah, green eyes for the kid. So the kid is going to have green eyes if the parent has green eyes. This is going to be the same for this kid. Just pretend that's there. Variation. So variation is when remember, there's going to be a tall bob, and then there's going to be a short bob, or there's going to be a big dick, and then there's going to be a small dick. That's variation. And competition, the last part, is the tree part. So let's say you have the trees here, and This isn't to scale, but you have the short bobs, and the short bobs can't get to the top of the tree, but you have the tall bobs, and they can get to the top of the tree to get the leaves. So that's competition. And so for competition, there has to be a limited number of resources and a higher population. So the ones that can, get to the trees are going to survive. That's competition. So closing out natural selection, heritability, variation, competition. You have to inherit the right genes. There's going to be a variation of genes. You have to inherit the correct genes, which will allow you to basically win the competition and have children that are going to inherit your genes and do the same thing all over again.